Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a quiet and gentle moment today. Take a slow breath and allow your mind to feel a little lighter. Have you ever wanted to speak English but felt something stop you at the last moment? Like the words are in your mind but they do not come out? You know what you want to say. You understand the situation. But when it is time to speak, you hesitate, you pause, and sometimes you say nothing. And in that moment, you may feel something uncomfortable, a small fear, a feeling of doubt. What if I make a mistake? What if I sound strange? What if they do not understand me? These thoughts appear quickly, and they stop you. Many learners experience this. They study English. They learn vocabulary. They understand sentences. But when they try to speak, fear appears. And this fear feels strong, stronger than knowledge, stronger than preparation. And this creates frustration because you know that you can speak, but something inside you does not allow it. Some people believe the answer is simple. They think they need more confidence. They think they need to be brave. So they try to push themselves. They try to force speaking. But this often does not work because fear is not something you can remove by force. Fear comes from how your brain works. Your brain wants to protect you. It wants to avoid risk. And speaking a foreign language feels like a risk because it is uncertain, because it is not perfect, because it can lead to mistakes. So your brain tries to stop you, not to hurt you, but to protect you. Another important idea is expectation. Many learners expect themselves to speak perfectly. They want correct grammar. They want natural sentences, but this expectation creates pressure, and pressure creates fear. When you feel pressure, your mind becomes tense, and when your mind is tense, speaking becomes difficult. Another key point is experience. If you do not have enough speaking experience, your brain feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar situations create fear. But when you repeat something many times, it becomes familiar, and familiarity reduces fear. Another important idea is how you see mistakes. If you see mistakes as failure, you will avoid speaking. But if you see mistakes as learning, your mind becomes more open, and openness reduces fear. Another key point is identity. If you believe, I am not good at speaking, your brain will follow that belief. It will hold you back. But if you begin to change that belief, something begins to shift. At this point, you may begin to see something clearly. Fear is not your enemy. It is a signal that something feels unfamiliar. And when something becomes familiar, fear becomes smaller. But there is still something important we need to understand. How can we reduce this fear step by step? How can we make speaking feel safe and natural? And this is where the story begins to go deeper. From fear to confidence. Now that we understand where fear comes from, we can begin to explore how to reduce it step by step in a natural way. The goal is not to remove fear completely. The goal is to make it smaller and easier to manage. The first step is to start with very small speaking. Many learners try to speak in full conversations immediately. They try to express complex ideas, but this creates pressure. So begin with something simple, very simple. One sentence, one short response. I think so. I am not sure. These small expressions are easier to use, and when something is easy, your brain feels less fear. The second step is to speak in a safe environment. Fear becomes stronger when the situation feels risky. So create a space where you feel comfortable. You can speak alone. You can speak softly. You can repeat sentences you already know. This builds familiarity, and familiarity reduces fear. The third step is to change how you see mistakes. Mistakes are not failure. They are part of learning. Every mistake shows you something new. When you accept this, your mind becomes more open. And when your mind is open, fear becomes smaller. The fourth step is to slow down your speaking. Many learners feel pressure to speak quickly. They think speed is important. But speed creates stress. So take your time. Speak slowly. Pause when you need to. This gives your brain time to think. And when your brain has time, fear decreases. The fifth step is to focus on meaning, not perfection. When you try to be perfect, you create pressure. But when you focus on meaning, you focus on communication. What do you want to say? What do you want the other person to understand? This shift changes your experience. Speaking becomes easier. The sixth step is to repeat familiar patterns. Do not try to create new sentences every time. Use patterns you already know. Repeat them. Use them in different situations. This builds confidence because your brain feels safe with familiar patterns. The seventh step is to accept silence. Sometimes you may not know what to say. This is normal. You can pause. You can think. You can take your time. Silence is not failure. It is part of communication. The eighth step is to practice regularly. Fear decreases with experience. The more you speak, the more familiar it becomes. And the more familiar it becomes, the less fear you feel. Another important idea is self-kindness. Do not judge yourself too harshly. Do not expect perfection. Speak gently to yourself. Encourage yourself. This creates a positive learning environment. Another key point is patience. Confidence does not appear suddenly. It grows slowly, through repetition, through experience. Each small success builds confidence. Another important idea is trust. Trust your ability. Trust your process. Even if you feel nervous, you can still speak. And each time you speak, you become stronger. At this point, you may begin to notice something different. You hesitate less. You try more. And speaking becomes easier. But there is still one important part left. How do we make this confidence stable? How do we continue speaking without fear returning? And this is where the story moves forward. From reducing fear to speaking freely. So now we come to the final part of this story. How can you continue speaking English without fear returning again? Because reducing fear once is not enough. You need to build a state where speaking feels natural. The first step is to make speaking part of your daily life. Do not wait for a perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel ready. Speak in small moments, simple sentences, short thoughts. These small actions make speaking normal. And when something becomes normal, fear disappears. The second step is to accept imperfect speaking. You will make mistakes. You will say things in a simple way. This is not a problem. This is how learning works. When you accept imperfection, your mind becomes free. And when your mind is free, you can speak more easily. The third step is to focus on connection. Language is not about perfect sentences. It is about sharing meaning. It is about connecting with another person. When you focus on connection, you stop thinking about mistakes. And when you stop thinking about mistakes, fear becomes smaller. The fourth step is to build positive experiences. Each time you speak, you create a memory. If that memory is positive, your brain becomes more open. So celebrate small success. Even one sentence matters. Even a small conversation matters. These moments build confidence. The fifth step is to continue even when you feel nervous. Fear may still appear sometimes. This is normal, but you can still speak. You can speak with fear, and each time you do, fear becomes weaker. The sixth step is to trust repetition. Confidence grows through repetition, not through one moment, but through many small moments. Each time you speak, you build strength. The seventh step is to change your identity. Instead of thinking, I cannot speak English, begin to think, I am learning to speak English. This small change creates a different mindset, and mindset affects behavior. The eighth step is to create a safe inner voice. What you say to yourself matters. If your inner voice is negative, fear grows. But if your inner voice is supportive, confidence grows. So speak kindly to yourself. Encourage yourself. This creates a safe mental space. Another important idea is patience. Fear does not disappear immediately. It fades slowly, through experience, through repetition. Another key point is consistency. Speaking a little every day is more powerful than speaking a lot once, because your brain learns through regular exposure. Another important idea is balance. Do not push too hard. Do not avoid speaking completely. Stay in the middle. A place where effort feels natural. A place where you can continue. Over time, something begins to change. You no longer feel frozen. You no longer stop before speaking. You begin to express yourself. You begin to speak freely. And in that moment, you realize something important. Fear is no longer controlling you. It has become something small, something you can move through. And this is the result of everything you have done. Not one big effort, but many small and consistent steps. So if you remember one thing from this story, remember this. Speaking without fear is not about removing fear. It is about continuing despite it. Speak a little every day. Allow yourself to be imperfect. And over time, confidence will grow naturally. Thank you for spending this time with the story. And as always, see you in the next story.